Hi
Hello.
guys. Hi guys, we are live. We have a lot of technical issues. 15 minutes ago, we were not able to log into this stream, and it's not our fault, but it's our problem. And now we have a problem with Jeremy. So I don't know, it's a stream problem. It's Jeremy's connection. It's not a blame game, but see if Jeremy is not frozen, so maybe we will be able to go ahead. Okay, I'll just do my part and see what happens. So we are today we are live. We are doing a single live stream, SEO charity. The project itself running for 3 years, and as a charity project, as it says, SEO charity. So charity basically based on SEO community. SEO community helping to collect money for small shelters, cat and dog shelters in Ukraine. We've been running for 3 years, and this is our third online conference. So we're collecting money, but we're doing SEO educational things at the same time. So we try to put it all together. So if you want to donate, you're very welcome. If you don't want to donate, you just can listen, Jeremy and Alicia. They are experts, and I'm here just to say, yeah, guys, donate here. If $5 doesn't really make difference for you, but it make difference for little kitten for one day at least. Yeah. Okay, guys. It's all yours. Hopefully, it all will work. Jeremy, Alicia, it's all
Yeah.
yours.
So I'll start with a very brief presentation of Jeremy. For those who might not know him, he is very serious, as you might see, as a nerd, but he's always smiling, being serious. And the most famous part of him is not only that he's very authoritative in SEO space and has been doing it for many, many years for many wonderful and famous companies, but he also is the author of the book with a very interesting title, which is I self-published an essay book, and all I got was this lousy knowledge panel. A cynical ploy to show off the absurd nature of SEO. You can actually buy it on Amazon. And also Jeremy is famous for his unscripted podcast. So Jeremy, maybe you want to expand on that a bit?
Yeah,
What we
definitely.
can expect from you today.
I've been in SEO for over 17 years. I started with Raven Tools, which is a very famous SEO tool company, a big competitor to Moz. Originally, Moz outstripped them, but now both Moz and Raven Tools are a little bit of the past. But I've been moving forward. I've done SEO for large agencies, worked in-house for several large brands, and consulted with HCA, consulted with Logan's Roadhouse, Captain D's, and literally like 1,000 different realtors over the years. So I have a lot of experience both at the enterprise level as well as at the local level. And the talk that I wanted to go through today and see if we could get that deck up, Alicia, if you could pull it up on your side
Yes.
while we go through. I wanted to try to reconnect SEO to the real world. And the reason that I want to do this is because there's a level of expertise and value that we're going to need as LLMs become more commonplace, as these tools become more ubiquitous. We have to be able to tap into real sources of expertise. And I think that I've been guilty of it, of only doing SEO through the lens of SEMrush, only doing SEO through the lens of Ahrefs, sticking to my keyword sheets and looking at the keyword volumes and coming up with my pathway to success. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
So
Yes.
with yeah, you might recognize me from Raven Tools, DapClicks. I have my own SEO SaaS. I also have 3 different podcasts where I'm interviewing SEOs, I'm interviewing SaaS owners, interviewing small business owners, and the objective of all of those things is about connection. And the reason I started podcasting, I inherited it from Mark Preston, the previous host, and I've just every single conversation that I've had at some point has touched on the upcoming nightmare that is LLMs. And there's both despair and hope. So we have two parts of that conversation of like, oh, we're doing this new, cute, awesome thing. It's helping our workflow in this way, but also LLMs, you know, at some point are going where the feedback loop has started, where 50% of the content on the internet has been touched by or has directly come from an LLM or an AI machine. So we're starting to be that snake that is eating its own tail. But next slide. This is our moment. This is our moment to shine. This is where we can touch grass. This is where we can start to reconnect and step away from just strictly looking at keyword search volumes to get ideas for how we're going to move forward and actually do things in the real world. Next. So one of the things that's always in the background is in SEO is the value of links has changed over time. And in my opinion, it has become more valuable for us to get branded links and more valuable for us to get the hard links. And the hardest links for SEOs, honestly, has been those links that you can get in real life through real conversations by really connecting with people, because we've relied on the crutch again and again of, oh, hey, I can just send an outreach email and connect and convince somebody. If I send enough emails, eventually I'll get someone who's going to want a guest post and be able to post it. And then we have kind of allowed an ecosystem to build up where there's these third-party proxy link builders, and you get on LinkedIn and you get these offers out the gate of, oh, I'll build links for you. Here's my list of 50 sites you can buy my links from. Like, you don't want that. That was so easy. You just logged onto LinkedIn and you grabbed the first spam offer. That wasn't hard. Okay, we need to do the hard stuff. Next slide. So it's connected to this concept. I interviewed Cyrus on my podcast the other day, and we were talking about the problem of looking at search volume as a continual score, as something constant that we could refer to. But search volume is actually, it's a digital representation of a concept in flux, right? The amount of people searching for Kentucky Derby in December is vastly different than the week before race day, right? So the search volume is a reflection of the market. And we have relied so long on looking at these spreadsheets of numbers to represent opportunity. We've forgotten that we are marketers. We've forgotten that we can engineer and create demand. We can engineer and do things that push our visibility to an existing audience that then influences the amount of search volume for a term or phrase. I talked to Morty Oberstein at length about the concept of brand and how Google has shifted its algorithm to favor brands, and we suspect that large parts of the algorithm are now biasing towards entities that they can represent or analyze or respect based off of both the number of branded anchor text links that they have, but also the number of branded search queries that they have. And so, of course, the black hats put on their black hat and they're like, oh, we need more clicks that are brands. Well, let's make some bots and they'll do that branded click for you. I'm like, no, you missed the point. Google is saying we have this power to understand clicks on our SERPs and look at that behavior and look at how many branded clicks are coming through to your site. we shouldn't skip to cheating. We shouldn't skip to, oh, we can use bots to fake that signal. Instead, we should be looking at what are the heartbeats, what are the things, the activities that SEOs can do to start to generate branded clicks. All right, so next. So you got to actually do something. You got to do something. You got to do something. That's a line from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, one of my favorite comedies by Judd Apatow, with Brandon Russell Brand. And but really, we need to actually start making a change and making an impact in our community. It's such a fantastic way to take hold of messaging, take hold of brand visibility. So, for example, I've started for several different projects. I started a social alliance that organizes trash cleanups, but from the perspective of how does this win for SEO? Because there's kind of a mirror effect with the online world versus businesses in online and versus the real world. There's a shadow effect. If you do something on Tuesday in the real world, maybe it shows up online somehow. How? Because you registered an event. You went to Eventbrite, you created a page, you said at this time and date, this is happening. You went to a Facebook page and you posted, hey, join me for this event happening at this day and time. So if you get enough of those entities, if you get City Hall saying, hey, this brand, Jay's Driveways, is sponsoring a trash cleanup in downtown Cookeville on this day and time, that's an online representation of your presence in the community. And so from the SEO perspective, you can put on that hat and you say, okay, well, there's no followed links from the Eventbrite, but it's syndicated to this secondary news site for Cookeville, and that had a link. And you got a listing on City Hall's .gov website for that event. You got a link from the university site. So there's so much value in actually doing things like, I don't know, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, sponsoring a fantastic cause. That is, yes, doing good in the world, rescuing pets from a war zone and giving them the supplies they need to be happy kitties and doggies who aren't super hungry. So hit that button, guys. But there's so much more. You can organize a trash cleanup. You can sponsor a play, sponsor a race. Next slide. Because Google is hungry for this. They've created an entire special SERP feature on specific queries to surface those events. So there's a special type of visibility you get for events locally when you put them on, as well as those secondary backlinks that you obtain through that process. Next slide. There's so many different layers of links. So you can get backlinks by sponsoring other people or putting on your own events. So I sponsored a local pickleball site and a local pickleball sports team, and I got a backlink to my client for that. You can also, if you're doing charity things, that we just got news today that Google has doubled down on its engagement with Reddit, and we can expect to see equal or more results from Reddit in the future. So if you want to show up in Reddit, then find a subreddit and find a way to be a charitable donator. So on my local Cookeville cleanup, my local Cookeville subreddit, I posted, hey, I'm doing a Dogwood Park cleanup. And in that, I included the link. I cut it off just so I wasn't spamming with you guys. So, but you guys are Redditor, you're on Reddit. You can go find this event if you really want to know which domains I'm working with. But the point is that you get access to these places, and that has a secondary impact. Next slide. So if you do the legwork, yay, paying the cat tax. If you do the legwork, you can use an event like a trash cleanup or a canned food drive. Submit it as a press release. 24/7 press release is like $50, and that'll send you out to 80 to like 100 and get you 80 to 100 no followed links, which can be branded mentions. Submit to Eventbrite. Each city I've found actually has an ecosystem of specific events sites. There's Hip Cookville 2. Universities have student activity boards, so go and check those out. You can usually list events there. Send an email to all of the churches in your community saying, hey, come join me. We're doing this trash cleanup. Is there a website? Is there a board or a feed where we can get posted and show that information? And you can City Hall, it will often have an event board, and since it's a trash cleanup, about 50% of the time I've had success in getting a .gov link every time I do a charitable event. There are local nonprofit groups, and like I mentioned, those Facebook and subreddits. I did start a B Corp, a social alliance that white labels all of that process. So if you want to do that hands-free for your clients, go to communitycleanlinks.com. Happy to help you out. Next slide. Now, there's a knock-on effect. We've been banging our heads against the wall of how do we promote or create or generate more visibility in AI search. So that's Perplexity, that's ChatGPT, that's Grok. All of these tools are trying to index information. And I can tell you that they're actually tied into both Facebook and Reddit. It took about half an hour from when I submitted the Facebook group and the subreddit entry about this cleanup. Half an hour later, I was able to query and ask if there's a community cleanup in March, and boom, it showed up. That's because I have Index now. So there's 3 different ways that you can get into Bing's index, which powers Perplexity GPT. Fabrice Chanel being recommended using the Index Now capability to get indexation right away for new pages that you create. So from using Eventbrite, using Reddit, and a Facebook group, those are 4 different ways that you can get into get some visibility for your brand. So you get branded mentions from doing these things. Next slide.
Yes. Did it go? No?
Not yet.
Not yet. And now?
Yes, it did on my screen. Yeah. By the way, it's not Fabrice Chanel; it's Fabrice Canel. Yeah.
Fabrice.
Chanel is slightly different thing. Yeah.
So is this one right?
Yes. Okay. So ZipSprout is a nice tool that I've used a couple of times. If you don't want to organize your own event, there are tons of organizations that are creating events right now that they're looking for sponsors, they're looking for businesses. So I think it's lsf.zipsprout.com. So if you hop over there, they've got a free tool where you can connect and find entities locally. And for a small sponsorship fee, instead of paying a backlink organization, $200 for that link, instead you can, sponsor an event locally in your community that's going to make a positive change. Next. I can also recommend DoGoodPoints.com. Interviewed Andy Choi, their CEO, last week, and he gave this test case that they were able to increase the web traffic by 1,750% by doing a partnership between their for-profit brand and a nonprofit entity. They have several networks of influencers who promote these nonprofit events, and so that bleeds over. So there are a lot of people on the nonprofit side who are eager and they want to work with for-profit entities to push their message further, to reach audience on the behalf. So go and do good in the community, and you'll be rewarded with, creating additional visibility and traffic. Next. So as we look at the content strategy that we have, as we brainstorm and look at these keyword sheets, we often get myopic and we focus on, okay, I'm just going, I'll make a skyscraper and I'll make it as tall as the world. And he's got a bigger article, I'll make it even bigger. Well, what you should really be doing is tapping into other people's marketing budget. The best marketing spend is somebody else's. So there are other people who are trying to reach your target audience. They have their own team, they have their own efforts, they've got their own emails, they've got their own newsletters, they've got their own ad spend, social spend, everything. So you can tap into that simply by reaching out and connecting with these allies, connecting with people who have a slightly different value proposition, who aren't trying to eat your lunch. It's very hard as one business to try to directly connect with another person that's selling the exact same thing. That doesn't make sense. But here's an example. If you're a realtor, then you're constantly interacting with inspectors, painters, roofers, landscapers, interior design experts. All of those people, they want access to your same audience. Fresh home buyers, people who own a home or will shortly be owning a home and need a whole bunch of stuff. So every single one of those are people that you can interact with. So how do you find them? Your local chamber of commerce, your local entrepreneur center, your local Rotary Club, meetup.com. There are all kinds of business alliances, small business groups where you can go in real life and interact with them. And so these represent opportunities for your brand, because it's way easier as a realtor to talk to a home inspector and say, oh, hey, I'd love your quick quote on something, and I'll give you a link, but do you have a link for me on your site? Yeah, that's in real life, that's so much easier than showing up cold call email like, hello, would you like to be linking to me? No, it's so much easier IRL than anywhere else to build links. Next. Next.
Okay, done.
Okay. So I don't want to dogpile entirely on say that you just have to go door to door or only meet people in real life, but it is about creating real relationships. And you can do that through social media, but not by just using, I've had so many cold pitches via DM that are just disconnected of would you like 1,000 leads? I can get you leads tomorrow. I am so-and-so. I'm like, guys, I don't know you from Adam. So you need to, if you want to connect, if you want to find those allies and reach them, then what you really need to do is participate. Observe how people actually use a social media platform. Participate in a natural way. So do your own thing, have a real presence, but then start to engage and then network with people. So here's the the 5-day plan. If you want to get into somebody's DM to actually partner with them, on day 1, you like something that they wrote. On the next day, you like and repost something else. Then on the 3rd day, at reply to continue a conversation on a topic that they engaged in, like something else, repost it. So by the 3rd day, you should start to see that they are going to interact back with you, or nobody's managing that social media account. So on day 4, if they have actually interacted with you, continue to message them, continue that conversation, and like something else. So then on the 5th day, you have already established multiple touch points. So when you slip into that DM, you can start a natural conversation that leads to ultimately, you offering them a link in some way, shape, or form is always the most effective way. Like, slip into DM, mention something that you had liked, like part of that conversation before, and be like, oh, hey, I was looking for somebody that could give me a quote to support an article that I wrote. Happy to give you attribution. Who's going to turn that down? You're offering them a link, so then they link and you add the quote, turn it into a quotographic, give it back to them and say, oh, I loved your quote, I added it. Here's the article that I published that includes your expertise. By the way, last month you wrote about this same topic. Here's a quote card that you can add to that post. And if you link back to me, that's great. 9 times out of 10, they're going to use the graphic. They'll probably post it on social media. They'll add it to the article. And now you have a connection or relationship with that person, something real. You connected to them. Next slide. Because this kind of ties into what I was talking about before. People are sick and tired of just cold DM outreach. I can send you 2 new clients your way in the next 30 days. Maybe, but I don't know you, Orly and Luvara, and you haven't proved to me that you're a real human being. We have connection, right? We're human beings. Like, we don't immediately want to be sold to every second. So if you create a connection, then it's much easier to get value out of that relationship and find opportunities to give value back. Next. So again, this is where we get in real life. Who's the kind of person who actually knows what links are? Have you tried to explain to a 60-year-old realtor why they need backlinks? I think I'd rather do something really unpleasant. I'd rather do anything else than try to explain to somebody who has low technology why they need to care about backlinks. Instead, SEOs know how valuable links are. So in your community, in your city, you need to find other SEOs. You need to find a way to connect with them, go to local meetups, use my open social media outreach to, find out who's doing SEO in your city and try to create connections with them, because it's so much easier to create alliances with people that are already doing the same thing. You don't have to tell them, oh, hey, links are important. Duh. Like, just connect with other SEOs and it's so much easier. Next. All right, so kind of a pivot in the presentation to talk about experts and expertise. This is our moment because the ubiquity of LLM content is just going to get worse. And so we're going to need to have, not just organic SEO, but we're going to need to have organic content. And it's one-to-one, it's, experts, subject matter experts. Next slide. So this is our time to tap into SEO and get unique insights, because there's a surface valuation. There's a surface value to the information that you get out of LLM-based inputs. And it's not experiential. It's a lexicon of data that is limited in its scope, and it is not experiential. It's not based off of direct one-to-one knowledge. So we need to, as SEOs, be better at finding and recruiting specific, talented subject matter experts to help us craft content. And we can find that in different places. Next. Yeah, that's basically what I just said. I'm forgetting what my slides say. So we don't want to create content that's just search engine first. We want to create content that reflects expertise that's of value. And so to do that, we're going to next tap into multiple different sources. So the first place where you turn in, if you're in-house, this is easier. If you're a consultant or at an agency, it takes a little bit more work to have conversations with these people at your client organization, but it is worth it to ask, hey, can I have a conversation with the service team? Can I have a conversation with the sales reps? Can I have a conversation with the product manager, the product marketing manager? Can I have a conversation or arrange to have a conversation with an actual client or customer? These are all ways within an organization to gather information that can be used and find subject matter experts. Next. So within your organization, you might have someone who's the CEO, the director, or the founder, and you can pull them or push them, or drag them screaming forward out of the shadows so that they can generate some unique, relevant, authoritative content for your site. Because you talk to these people one-on-one. I've been in these conversations of like, I'm in a meeting and I ask just a simple question, what does that mean? They go off on a tangent, on a tear, explaining, their 30 years of experience. And then you're like, okay, can you send me an email with some of that information? Yeah, okay. And then they don't. And you're like, I wish that's why AI powered note takers are great at cribbing notes and stealing information from the founder's lips, get them to go on that tangent, because you're going to be able to use that in your content. Next. If you have somebody who has a lot of subject matter expertise, but is not a great writer, then that's a good position to find a ghostwriter, somebody who can take an interview. It can be you and Claude, or it can be a professional ghostwriter who can speak to your leadership person, or I did this for a guy who sells asphalt. He's great at talking colloquially about it, but that's not going to play that well in content, so it just had to go through a couple of revisions. But there's so many opportunities to turn that internal knowledge into useful content. Next. So you can use Claude, you can use Grok. So there's kind of two pieces about that. If you don't have an expert internally on this and you need to find somebody. When I grabbed this screenshot, Grok was connected to the database and could, based off a prompt, give specific people who had talked about specific things. A month ago when I tried this, Grok said, I don't have access to Twitter data and profiles. Then when I tried it on Grok 3, it said it did give me information. So results may vary, but Perplexity can help with this. ChatGPT on the search level, trying to find subject matter experts. You wanting to find people who have authored articles for you to reach out to and try to bring them onto your team and make them an offer to generate some content. Next. You can use Ahrefs. It has the Content Explorer tool, and it has, you put in your subject, and it will actually surface who are the top authors on that tab. So you've got pages, authors, click that tab, and you can see who is actually, a subject matter expert on this. And yeah, I did say Grok. It can be useful, surprisingly. I have subscriptions to every single LLM machine at this point. I've got Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Grok, all of them. But there are different tools for different things. So Ahrefs, you can grab the authors based off of the subject matter here. Next, Rand Fishkin's Spark Toro is a great tool. It'll also surface influencers and people that you can connect with, as well as brands that are effective in that space. Next. CopyPress, who I used to work with, they have a tool for their authority builder. They have a program, and they do such a good job pulling this data. I'm really jealous. So they use the same process as my SEO Arcade to pull keyword clusters and see what domains are ranking within the whole network of all terms and phrases that are related to a particular subject, and it surfaces all of the domains that are relevant to that. And so then they, in their program, they sort and filter that and give it a score of these articles are relevant. These are authorities in this particular niche. And you can use that in different ways. You can outreach and find subject matter experts, or you can find stuff you want to steal. Duplicate. Uniquely replicate with your own unique spin. Next. So how do you outreach? Use that. You can use the open process that I described before. Like their stuff, @message, find which social media platform they're actually using on a regular basis, and then have that hook, offer them some value. Maybe tell them that you're going to include a link. Ask them if it's okay if you cite something. It's like, duh. Nobody's going to turn down. No, you can't. You can't link to my article that's publicly available. But it's just kind of a nice hat tip introduction way of you're an expert and you've written about this. I'm writing something about something similar. Is it okay if I link to you or include your quote from this other article? Oh, well, yeah, sure. Then give them your offer and say, hey, I'm running a blog with a large audience and we want to collaborate. What are your rates? How do you do this? You can figure out what your pitch is specifically to get those experts on board as part of your content marketing budget or team. Next. And when you do this, you want to get as much value as possible. So I try to always take these extra steps to, when you grab a subject matter expert, he joins the team, you want to get all the juice from that. So schema markup is key. Next. You're going to want to use to have an author profile that uses the same as schema, and take the time to fill that out and connect those pieces and connect to their other profiles elsewhere, their Muck Rack profile, their LinkedIn profile, same as. Next. And if you are using other platforms and you're not using WordPress, there's a GPT that Linda Infante made that helps generate bio to schema. So you can create person schema super fast. Next. Basically, you really do want to have author pages. It's not a cure-all, but it is a good item in your checklist. Make sure that the author page is indexed. The author page has a headshot. The author page has a bio. Author page has links to other writing externally as well as internally, and uses that same as schema markup. Next. So Ross Hutchins and many people, not just Ross. Sorry, pivoting here. So I lost my track a little bit. So pivoting, every time that you create content as a subject matter expert, you can repurpose that content. So, for example, a YouTube video can be repurposed into a blog. That blog post can be repurposed into a LinkedIn post, and that both of those can be repurposed into a newsletter. And if you use Claude or GPT, that's really just another prompt. Like once you take your article, put it in and have it help you and say, hey, can you help transform this into a different format? I do this with a lot of my interviews on my podcast, taking that full length and interview, subbing it in and saying, hey, help me surface the best quotes, and then help me slice and dice pieces of that into using whole quotes. And it's important not to let it go wild and rewrite everything, but to say, hey, using as much real content from this conversation as possible, existing content, help me format this into an email newsletter, into a LinkedIn post. Super handy. Next.
What specific LLM do you prefer for repurposing? Sorry to interrupt.
Right now, I really like Claude for that purpose. GPT seems to be a lot colder in its execution. It's much better at technical things. So pretty happy so far with Claude. And half the time I use type.ai for the interface, and the other half of the time I use Claude directly. Type AI it's basically like a Hemingway type interface, and it's got all the widgets, and so it's much easier to type into and as a word editing experience. But I like the output so far from Claude. I talked about this piece earlier about if a subject matter expert talks for 5 minutes, that's actually about 750 words of content. So this is super valuable. So those transcription tools in those meetings, if you can get your subject matter expert who's internal, who's too shy or doesn't think he's a good writer, then those transcription tools can help there. Or nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You can ask somebody who has an unscripted interview podcast to interview your client. Literally any and every one of you who has clients, I'm happy to interview every single one of you and every single one of your clients. I've got an unscripted SaaS podcast, an unscripted SEO podcast, an unscripted small business podcast, unscripted nonprofit podcast. Those are the 4 categories I have right now. Once I figure out if there is another useful category, I'll probably make yet another podcast too. But hey, I'm happy to sit down with them. I'll give you the transcript. I'll give you the full video file so you can take it over to Opus Clip and turn that video into a dozen social media clips in a minute. By the way, Opus Clip is amazing. I think there are 2 or 3 competitors now, but if you are recording a video, a tool like Opus Clip is amazing at grabbing videos with hooks that you can share on social to complement the other process of taking the content, that transcript, and using that in your LLM tools. Next. So this is just kind of an action item. I love roundup posts, and this is actually a fantastic way to tie in subject matter experts. So what you do is you come up with a prompt, a question, a single question, and then you shop it around to subject matter experts, and just that's again that open social media approach I described before. Retweet, and then slide into their DMs. And this is a great door opener. You're building a piece of content and asking them, hey, how can you improve your home value from your perspective? That is so valuable in the home space niche. Or if it's the health and wellness, what would you do? What would you tell your grandma to do different tomorrow to impact her health? Just tweak it a little bit. There's so many easy prompts, and people love being approached as experts. And if you warm up that conversation before and you aren't just sending a cold DM, that's even better. So just take the time and build these roundup posts. That's fantastic content. You build relationships, and maybe you bring some of those experts on board for projects in the future. Next. Once you have created multiple blog posts in a same vein, then with the assistance of Claude, with the assistance of LLM or somebody who is talented at it, turn those multiple posts into an ebook, and then make that a downloadable that you add a CTA to your blog posts. Once you've created your ebook, then you can hold a webinar, and then you can talk a little bit more at length about it. Once you have multiple ebooks, then turn it into a real book. It's stupid easy to publish on Amazon. All you literally need is an Amazon account, a self-publishing account, and a Google Doc. That's it. And it only needs to be 14 pages long to qualify. And so mine was 20. So I self-published an SEO book, and all I got was this lousy knowledge panel. Actually, it takes a little bit more work to actually get the author knowledge panel. Next, you need to consider your knowledge graph. It's the next slide, but I'll talk about this. We'll come back to that real fast. So on this slide, when you build subject matter experts as part of your team, you want to take the time to build them up. So you want to, as yourself, if you are publishing ebooks, you want to post those to third-party sites that take PDFs, so SlideShare, and what's the other one? That there are places where you can post up your PDF, share ebooks, go to Muckrack and create a profile. There are multiple places where you can create profiles as an author. You can go get interviewed on podcasts and get those links. So you want to create a raft of third-party sites for each of your authors, and you want to encourage each of your authors to try to self-reinforce and find more profiles to build themselves up, and encourage them to do that as part of their professional journey, and it helps boost you as well at the same time. And so if you are creating content, you need to be building your own profile by creating more findable references. Next. Because you want to improve Google's understanding of you as an entity. I had a fantastic conversation with Callie Scott of Blue Orchid Digital. Go listen to that podcast. He talks specifically in depth about what are the steps that you need to do. Oh yeah, Simon Cox is absolutely right. IMDb, if you are on podcasts, you absolutely want to use IMDb as a database point, because that's what Google is doing in its knowledge graph. It's looking at specific entity locations that it can trust, databases, so it can construct a picture about what an entity is, who an entity is, what they're connected to, and what they've done. So take the time to build up those profiles, put in the work. It's basic, point and click, filling out profiles and submitting stuff. Most of these sites are clunky, horrible, and awful, and difficult to use. And that's why Google likes them, because they're horrible, clunky, awful, and difficult to use, so they don't get spammed as hard. There's an approval process. It's like trying to get a change on your Wikipedia page. Might as well try to do your own dentistry. But it's worth it. If the link is easy, then it is not valuable. Okay, so next slide. So just tying it all together, all of these things are about connection in the real world. So go and do stuff, sponsor events, go to local meetups, find and use subject matter experts, repurpose that content that you create across multiple channels, and hey, be a guest on an unscripted podcast. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, know what I mean? Say no more. That's it, guys.
Thank you so much. Do you have any more time, because we are slightly over due to our technical problems at the beginning, but I have a few questions to ask you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you can ask a couple of quick questions.
So you were mentioning about going to meetups, and I once was researching the audience of my consultancy client in the SaaS business, and his audience is small businesses. And what I did, I went to Reddit and started reading what they were writing to each other, how to promote their business, how to generate leads for small businesses. And one of them mentioned go to meetups, but avoid those where SEOs go and pitch you their backlinks. So, how do you actually go to the valuable meetups without being too salesy and being not avoided by your target audience?
Just bring some donuts. Like go and just have go and be real. Like the first time you go to the meetup, don't have an objective to try to connect with anybody. Just go and experience and see what the conversations are. Maybe be more of a wallflower. And when somebody tries to connect with you and ask, hey, what is it that you do? Then you can talk generally about it. I find that if you're in a group setting and you say that you are an SEO, they come to you. It's not hard. Like there's such a knowledge gap in the small business world of what is effective and what isn't effective, and it's just getting worse with LLM tools flooding the zone with so much information on there. There's just so much. So they're looking for who they can trust as an expert, and the best way to do that is to show up and not try to be the expert. Just be there, and then they'll ask you questions.
Also, because you're making many podcasts and you know what you're doing like really, really well, you're an expert in this field. Have you tried Notebook LM? Did you have any success with their podcast setting? You know, you may talk to them, you may do lots of stuff with it. Did you have any success with that?
It's on the to-do list. I've been doing so many podcasts on my own that the idea I will admit, I have faked a podcast, but it was using my voice on Riverside FM. There's an AI voice tool. So I did a recap of another 3 different podcasts and made a podcast recap podcast. To recap the other podcasts that I'd done so that I would have show notes links to send to those other podcasts. But I haven't yet used Notebook LLM to try to make a back and forth podcast. Although I do know that Mark Williams Cook has a good one that talks about Google patents, and it explains them in a back and forth, easy to digest, but it's kind of saturnine. Like it's a little sweet in the tooth. Like if you listen to it, you're like, okay, I get the banter and the back and forth, but it feels a little off if you know anything about Google patents. But if you're a total noob, then it was pretty good to listen to. So I think it's called the Patents Podcast. So you can ask Mark Williams Cook on LinkedIn for how to find that podcast.
I'll ask him. He'll be on the conference next week, by the way. So please join us there as well. Jeremy, if people want to find you somewhere, where's the best place to do that?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Mastodon. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Threads. So you can find me Jeremy Rivera SEO on Twitter, Unscripted Podcasts. My site is Jeremy Rivera SEO. My SEO SaaS is SEOarcade.com. You can find my podcast at unscriptedseo.com. Yeah, I'm everywhere.
Thank you so much. Anton, do you want to add something, maybe invite people to the conference? You are muted, by the way.
Oh,
okay, I'll unmute you.
Yeah, I'm muted myself twice, and we do it at the same time, and that's why I got muted again. Jeremy, question: if someone wants to pitch himself or herself or someone else to your podcast, should they do that?
Oh, just send me a DM on Twitter is probably the easiest. But you can literally find me if you find me, Jeremy
So, but
Rivera.
basically, DM anywhere they can find, and you will consider. So, guys,
I'll respond within
it's-
minutes of any DM anywhere. So
yeah. So, guys, it's a great podcast. I know Alisa just very recently done one episode. I haven't seen or hear one, but I hope I will. But I know someone else who probably will fit your podcast. I'll DM you just after this one. So, thank you very much. Jeremy, this particular episode was just very difficult to do for some reason. We don't know the technical.
But it was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, it's Jeremy said link doesn't worth anything if it's easy. So I'm not really sure about link, but this one episode wasn't easy. We have spent half an hour yesterday trying to fix things, and it didn't work today. Yes, so we started 10 minutes later, and even we said, should we cancel it? And we think, yeah, we should cancel it. And it worked. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Alisa, great job as usual, guys. We will have in a week from now, March 27, we will have a long conference. We will have 7 sessions. Please do come. Please do donate if you can. If you cannot donate, share with your friends and relatives, with your mother, father, cat, dog, and everyone else. Just to remind you that 100% of the money we only pay commissions to these payment systems. Otherwise, we don't use any money. So, for example, any t-shirts. This is t-shirt you can have if you're a member. Member means at least $10 a month regular payment. So you'll get a t-shirt. Jeremy, I just sent t-shirt to you today, so you will have it
awesome.
within a week. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, and t-shirt I'm printing for my own money. So I don't use donated money. All donated money goes to small cats and dogs shelters. We currently support 5 shelters in Ukraine. When I say small, it's 5 shelters altogether, about 300 animals. So 300 cats and dogs. And those shelters are kind of, how should I say, family shelters. So cats and dogs, they don't live in the cages. They live in a flat, or most of them in a flat, and 2 out of 3 in the flats and 2 in houses. But they just everywhere. Could you imagine 1-bedroom flat with 50 cats? Okay, yeah, they do need it. They do need medicine, and so if you can donate $5 for you, probably just good, very good coffee you can buy for $5. But for it doesn't change the world, but it changes the life of a little kitten. Maybe it's worth it. I think it is. Thank you very much. We'll see you again in a week time. Please do come and watch our long conference, and great one.